reference. But anyways, welcome. My name is Satan herself, or Satan isn't herself on Twitch, and you are about to watch some Peggle Knights random master only. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting that category upgrade. Met 1K hype. That was so awesome. That means that y'all will get to see a really fun category where we are going to get a random master power every single level. This is a category that I kind of technically made up. But it's one of our main categories in the game, but it is our most random category in the game, so y'all are in for an absolute treat. Yeah, time is going to start when I click adventure, and then, yeah, that's it, because we're on start a new adventure. Sometimes you have to restart it. So, yeah, no commentators today, it's just gonna be me and Happy hanging out, so I hope y'all are ready for some epic gaming. Alright, I'm gonna give a countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. So, what is this whole Peggle thing about? So, the way that you go fast is you... Whoa, thank you, Slurp. is you hit all of these orange pegs in a level, and then that lets you advance to the next level. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this category. There are other categories where you have other different types of objectives you need to do, but this one's pretty simple. Hit oranges, win. But the less simple part is, of course, the category Random Master Only that we were talking about, where... Ooh, we are already in a weird situation, 1-1. I haven't had this happen to me in a really long time. Okay, let's see if we can get out of this. Yes, we can. Alright, already demonstrating free balling. Sometimes you have to aim directly into the free ball bucket after hitting a peg to get a ball back, and that is how that happens. But yes, the category Random Master Only. So you see that this character that we just had switched around. So every single level we're gonna get a new roll of characters, and then the game's gonna just give us one of the 11 available characters to use. Right now we are using Tula Sunflower, who is the best character in the game, so that's pretty cool. She can get 20% of remaining oranges off of the screen if you hit her green peg, and that's sort of the peg that's going to activate the master powers in general. And it has a minimum of 2 in Peggle Knights, which is really, really good. So we love to see her whenever you see Tula get hyped. We have Splurk again, who's actually genuinely a really good master as well. You saw it in the first level. They have a Big Bang power where they just get a bunch of pegs around the location that the green is at. Unfortunately, these greens are really poorly placed. That is a big thing with Splurk, is sort of the placement of those greens. But yeah, enough about master powers. Real quick, I'm gonna talk about sort of what I'm generally doing here in this game. Yeah, that was a good shot. I know, it's always like that, right? It's always like that. But anyhow, so how am I kind of going fast besides focusing on the oranges and trying to hit those? Well, 1, 2, 3. That is what is called an opener shot. I aimed to the left and then clicked 3 times on my keyboard. Opener shots are consistent shots where we know what's going to happen when we do them, because we line them up the same way every time, and Peggle's physics system is completely consistent. So as long as you don't have any pegs that are moving around, you know what outcome you're going to get. So here, we've gotten who actually is a little bit of an aimbot. Basically, what he does is he looks for a shot that is high points value, around where you aimed. And then he does it. And oranges are worth more points than blues, so that is kind of how that works. Purples are worth the most points, though, so you'll see who really wanting to go for those. Whoa, that is an all-blue left side? I don't think I've ever seen that in a run. Never before seen. That means I don't have to do the second opener. I was gonna explain pixel shots there, but basically pixel shots are exactly what they sound like. You aim at the specific pixel, and that you do the same thing as like a tap shot, which is what I was just explaining, where you aim to the left and right sides of the screen. So yeah, pixel perfect shots. It's a big thing in this run. It's
I was still God mic'd from earlier, so no one could hear me.
Oh no!
So sorry everybody.
That's
Satan
alright.
was just having a cool conversation with herself.
I can do that. I love yapping. I love talking. Everybody knows this. So, it's all good. But yeah, here we're about to finish up the first world, and there we go. We were supposed to play that all with Bjorn, who is a master that we'll probably see at some point. Oh, we're supposed to be playing this level with Jimmy, and Jimmy is here. Any percenting. So Jimmy's power is multi-ball. That means that if I hit a green, there's going to be a second ball that spawns, just like that, out of the first one. And in true Jimmy fashion, it was not very helpful. That's pretty common for Jimmy, unfortunately. The earlier a master is supposed to show up in the game, the worse it is usually by general rule. Although there's some specific exceptions to that, which we'll talk about. But also, you might notice that Jimmy is doing some science. What's that all about? So, Peggle Knights has a very funny and unique premise. Ooh, nice, that was good luck. Where each of the Peggle Masters is dreaming about something. These are their sort of career dreams. Also, that was really fast. In life, or, you know, biggest, best wishes. So, Jimmy's wish is to be a scientist for some reason. Don't ask me about that. It's just how it is. Also, canonically, he knows what T-blockers are. That's part of the dialogue of this game. If anybody would like to guess who the two canon queer characters are in Peggle, you can do that as well. Canon being, they haven't officially said so, but it just makes sense based on lore interpretations.
Canon being that it's not canon, we just said so.
We said so, but it actually does make sense for both of them. The first answer is Marina, because she flirts with the player, so therefore. And the second answer is Renfield, because he's literally a fruit, but uses he, him pronouns. And fruits are female. Anyways, enough about that tangent. Happy, how are you doing? How are we doing on the host side of things?
We're absolutely thriving. I've never been better in my entire life.
Excellent.
Because I get to watch Peggle, and then Castlevania. I found out Castlevania Order of Ecclesia was a game at the exact point that I watched the submission for Gamescom. Which is weird, because I love Metroidvanias. I just haven't played any of the Castle-y ones.
One of the namesakes of the genre, yes.
One would argue 50% of the genre.
Yeah, exactly.
One could make that argument.
Exactly.
But whether I've played the game or not, I love watching a game be irreparably broken. If you also wish to see Castlevania broken irreparably and ruthlessly torn apart, get those donations into that glitch exhibition.
No glitches allowed? We're breaking the rules.
I know.
Chat, we have to do that.
You have to spend your hard-earned money to allow the glitches round here.
Exactly. We don't just give them to you.
Glitches are pay to win at Noga.
Pay to glitch.
Pay to glitch.
Here you'll notice we're doing some fun slides. Those are all pixel shots set up there, although this one is just really easy, so you just aim at it. Thank you, Splork. Splork being helpful. Again, it really, really depends for whether Splork is good or not, where those greens show up in the level itself. So, was good this time. Hooray. Thank you, Splork. Another quick thing I'm going to talk about here is I'm leaving this orange till the end because I can more directly aim it into the buckets at the bottom. This is a big source of time loss or gain, which is how fast does your ball go into those sort of score buckets at the end of the level during what we call the fever. Also, we have our first appearance of Renfield here, who's doing something interesting. Renfield makes the ball come down back from the top of the screen after it goes down off the bottom, which can be good. However, I hate to break it to Renfield fans, but actually Renfield was significantly nerfed between Peggle Deluxe and Peggle Knights. So if you remember Renfield being really good, well, unfortunately now in Peggle Knights he can do stuff like that. In Peggle Deluxe, he actually had a secret mechanic called Micro-Zen, or Mini-Zen as some like to call it, where he makes the shot better based on points. So in a similar way to Who, if you were listening to that part earlier, when he comes down off the top of the screen. It's not a big effect, but it does exist, and it does make those shots significantly better. In Knights, they just completely removed that. And they knew they nerfed him too, because they moved Renfield to the third master that appears, and we're actually supposed to have him right here as a result. we have Jimmy. Thanks, Jimmy. Made that significantly worse. Jimmy can also mess up opener shots. Thank you, Jimmy. But anyways. Yeah, they knew that they nerfed him. They nerfed him. Sorry, Renfield fans. You got played. And yeah, now we're back to Jimmy Land, which one of those greens made my opener worse, and the other one is out of the way. Awesome. Usually Jimmy is slow and messes up your stuff. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he has really good ideas, but it doesn't happen too frequently. Also here we're gonna get a free ball from points, actually. There's 2 ways to get free balls in this game. One of them being to use exactly that. Get the ball into the free ball bucket. So we're having some... I have to be careful here because I don't want to hit that blue peg. Yep, there we go. And the other one is to get a certain amount of points in a single shot, which we're definitely going to do here because of that fantastic opener. Love doing that one. If you get 25,000 points in a single shot, like that, again, so many good examples, you get a free ball back as well. And the way to do that is mostly prioritizing the purple peg, so that one that gives you a big point boost, and oranges, because as you can see on the right side of your screen, every single time we hit an orange, we're going to increase what's called the multiplier, which makes every peg worth more points. So that helps out. The point calculation is based off of how many pegs you hit, times the score, the combined score of every peg you hit. So you can imagine that having pegs be worth more score equals more score.
That tracks.
But yes, Happy?
I like, I know you well enough to know that this was not an intended humble brag, but I feel like the way you said, if you get enough points, like that, deserved like a nail emoji and a hair flip. Like,
Oh,
if you
so
get a
real.
good enough shot, oh, like the one I just did.
Yeah. Well, actually, 2-2 also is just the level that will give you points. No matter what you do, basically, as long as you get that slide.
A peek behind the curtain, you bring it up on 2-2, so you always look good.
Right, they're totally intentional. Yeah, 100%. Also, we have Cat Tut here, who unfortunately sucks. Makes a big pyramid around the ball bucket, as you can see there, and that makes it bounce a lot, and that's
his eyes move slightly not together.
Oh yeah, cats kind of do that. It's true. There is technically, there are front-facing versions of these sprites, but they only appear for just a split second when they move. But you can find them if you go to the Peggle Discord and go to the assets, whatever it's called, channel. You can find them if you want. They're very
I'm like
cursed.
Staring at it now, trying to see if I can discern the one frame.
Yeah, when that happens. Also, this is Marina. This is the character I was talking about earlier that flirts with the player. She's here now. She's one of the best characters in the game, so we'd really like to see her. And especially in this level, I think she's a really good grab here. She... Not quite the timing I wanted, but either way. She makes a big, gigantic line between the first peg that you hit and the ball bucket with her electrobolt power, which, as you can imagine, is good. Like right there, I'm getting those 2 moving pegs that otherwise would have been a huge pain to get with her ability. And there we go. That's level done. This is one of the worst levels in the game, so it's always really nice to have a good power there. Oh, and we are gonna go gambling. Everybody say, let's go gambling. It's Warren Rabbit. So Warren's ability is Lucky Spin, which means that when we hit a green, we're actually literally gonna get a wheel to spin powers from. There's a half chance we'll get his power that he actually has, which is called Magic Hat, which is really good. We really want that one. There's a 25% chance we will get triple score, which is just tripling your score, which we don't want, because even though free balls are good, they're not fast. And finally, there's a 25% chance we can get any master power that we've already seen in the game, just like that. Marina's back. It's Electrobolt. Marina's power. It's back. What do you know? Which is really helpful because these pegs can be very hard to get. So, love that. Thank you, Warren. Big, big help. So yeah, that's the nature of Warren. If Warren gave Magic Hat every single time, he'd be a top tier master. Also, whoa. The portals are doing something for us here. What is this all about, game? This is what can happen in 3-5. There's portals, they do stuff, they can make your final wave take a very long time, so I'm hoping that will not happen. Or not final wave, that's Plants vs. Zombies. Final.
I don't know why. I mean, I do know why this made me think of that, because it's a similar premise, but you being like, if he did this every time, he'd be really strong, reminds me of in college when I tried playing League, and this one guy I was playing with kept getting angry when he got killed by stuff, and he was like, if my character had that ability, my character would also be really good. And so by the end of the game, we were just roasting him, and we're like, yeah, dude, if you had every ability in the game, you'd probably be good. You're right.
That's so true. That is true.
I feel the same way about, like, if I could just use this ability as much as I wanted with no drawbacks.
Exactly, it'd be really good.
Broken.
Weirdly though, it wouldn't be the best power in the game, so I don't know why they did that. Right? Like, it certainly would be amazing, and we would love to have it.
Is the best power in the game, like, by a long shot?
It's Tula. It's definitely Tula. At least for speedrunning. The flower power we saw earlier, the one that gets 20% of remaining orange pegs. It's just the best.
Fair.
Because
so
orange peg go fast, go fast.
Masters, you're basically just hoping to see Tula.
Yep,
every time you roll.
Tula's always good. Cinder is great too. This is our first time we get to see Cinder. Cinder is one of our favorite picks too, because he's gonna let us do a gigantic fireball through the level, which is actually really helpful on this level, so I'm excited about that. But we have to get the green before we can see it. So, patience, everyone. We also really want to see Marina, Splork, and Who. Those are top tier masters as well. We've seen so much Splork already this run, way more than statistically average, so that's kind of funny. I don't know why that is. We have sort of theories about whether the RNG is in any way sort of manipulated. As you can see there, big fireball, go burr. Ah, misaimed that slide. Unfortunate. What can you do? But anyways. Yep. We have theories about whether the RNG is in any way kind of manipulated or anything like that. We think maybe based on the time you start your game session, but probably not. I did use that that superstition though the other day to get a pretty big PB in this category. This one I PB'd in D-Rust, which was really nice. D-Rust for this marathon. Not too rusty, but you know. So if you want to see a top 5 now time in this game, I have that on YouTube. This also means we are probably not PBing today. That PB was a monster.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It could be God Run from here to the end.
It could. It's random master only, so anything can happen. I could get the best possible masters
is always
forever.
Alive
until
the exact point that the dream is not alive.
That is true. Also, Cat Tut, bad. Unfortunately, we have Cat Tut bad time. Oh,
is there anyone worse than Cat Tut?
It's a big debate within the community whether Renfield or Cat is the worst master in Peggle Knights. But Cat is, for sure, at the very least, a contender. Also the intended master for this stage, as you can see by the background art. Oh, thank you, Cat. I said that, and then Cat just handed me the win on a silver platter, so I'll take it.
He heard you talking smack.
Exactly.
Like, I bet.
Sure, yeah.
If I'm so worthless, then what's this?
Exactly. So here you're supposed to do 2 slides on this level, but Cinder's here and is making us not do that other one. But you got to see one, so that was cool. Cinder's an interesting master because you can use that little hood on the ball bucket to bounce, and that can make the individual shot better, but it also does mean that you're not very likely to get a free ball from any given Cinder shot. So it's a little bit interesting when you play with Cinder because you oftentimes have less balls than other masters. But he's really, really fast. So it's kind of the trade-off of, you know, how good are you with that? Oh, Tula's back, and on a really hard level, so that's awesome. Thank you, Tula, for existing. This is one of the hardest and most random levels in Peggle Knights, and you'll also notice that a lot of these are at the beginning. Peggle Knights amps up the difficulty very significantly from its predecessor, Peggle Deluxe. This is the sequel to the original. And it really makes it known that it wants things to be hard and difficult, and you're just gonna have to deal with that, basically. And a lot of the hard random levels come early as a result. And a lot of them come late also. This game's really hard. It's awesome though. This is probably my favorite overall speed game ever. It's definitely the one I have the most memories attached to, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's so much fun, and the community is just always around, always ready to help new members. And also, I'm doing like these pixel perfect strats, and things like that. You do not have to do that. You really don't. There are lots and lots of strats that are much easier for beginners to do, and yeah. I highly recommend getting into this if you think it's something that would be fun. Also, Peggle's super easy to just pop in and play fast as well. You don't have to use any strats at all. You can just go fast. It's not like other speed games where you really have to learn tricks before you get into it. You can just play with an eye for speed. Here I'm doing something called a corner bounce, with Cinder, who is the intended pick in NG+ for this level, so that's nice. Where you aim all the way at the corner and then use the ball bucket with a specific timing so that it ricochets in a diagonal pattern, which is ideal. Diagonals are usually the best way to go in this game through Cinder, just because of the way that the level layouts work. Also, Happy, how are we doing on that Castlevania incentive?
Hanging at a cool 10%. $10 hairs out of $100 hairs. And I'm noticing on the last few donations in the tracker, folks seem to be only putting them toward a target or a poll. If you have donated to GDQ events in the past, you might think that you have to do one or the other. We have noticed folks are used to that system. But one of the great joys of Tiltify is that they let you do both with the same donation.
Both.
So just one donation will go toward the incentive and any open bid wars, such as the language choice bid war that is currently open for Death's Door. And now here's a little inside baseball. They don't want you to know this, but every time you donate, it goes toward an upcoming milestone, even if that milestone hasn't been announced yet. Wink.
So it's always a 2 or 3 for 1 deal, is what you're saying?
It could be a 3 for 1 deal, as long as you make sure to actually click that you want it to go toward a certain target and toward a certain bid war.
All right, so chat, you know what to do. Take advantage. Donate. I want to see that Castlevania glitch exhibition. That is our very next run, by the way. That is right after this. So y'all do not have a ton of time. Get that done. Also, we finally get to see Claude Lobster here, who is my friend Anarchy's favorite. Claude turns the game into pinball. Oh, nice. We actually got that. I was going for that, but I didn't know if it would happen.
Also my favorite.
He's pretty great.
Girly.
Yeah, he turns the game into pinball, which is super fun, and he's French, which we will find out more about later.
I mean, nobody's perfect, right?
Nobody's perfect, yep. Exactly. But yeah, you manually flip using those flippers by clicking your mouse button, and yeah, that's the thing. Also, another thing to note here is I have to get all these openers right first try, because an additional stipulation of RMO is that you can't reset any levels. You're not allowed to just go in and do that. Yeah, exactly, because you have to stick with the master that you were given. Right, exactly. So that's kind of the thing that you have to be paying attention to at all times. I was hoping to save that green for later, but that's okay. We'll be fine. This level is generally pretty simple, all things considered. But yeah, I just needed a second to make sure we were good there, and there we go. As you can see there, sometimes I'm using a single shot to both get several oranges in it, but if I can't get several oranges, to also sometimes clear out blues that are in the way of oranges, so that I can more quickly get there. Also, we do have the intended master, Splork, here, and unfortunately Splork is going to mess up our opener, and I don't even get a choice. Usually you reset so that Splork is not going to ruin this slide here. We still get part of it, but it would have done both slides in one shot if Splork hadn't existed. So.
But as we just discussed, you cannot reset in this category.
Exactly. And resetting also does not just reset what master you get, but it also resets the position of all the pegs. So that's something I haven't talked about yet, but this run is not deterministic, even if you're not playing RMO, because all of the colors of pegs shift around. So the orange pegs go in different spots, blue pegs, blah, 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 blah. And so, when you boot up a level, you never actually know what's going to be where. Which is a really interesting thing, because it makes this a very unique run that has a lot of longevity, and is just, you know, not like many other things that you could play. Also, really good splork there. Happy with that. That basically got our right side done, which is nice, because that sometimes takes a couple shots and can be a pain. There, I should have maybe waited for the green to be down here. But we didn't. And so we live with it. Also, here are Claude's intended levels, as you can see, with him being in the background. I know, so exciting. And he's hanging out with his French fish friend. Can you guess what Claude's dream is? Happy, what do you think? And chat, what do you think?
To not be French.
Nope. His dream is to become a kaiju and rampage in the in France. Yep, and destroy France. Yep.
Also, he wants to destroy France. All right,
Yep.
He's cool in my book again.
I know, right?
The homie.
It's pretty awesome. I don't know why they decided this was the direction they were going to go for Claude, but I'm very happy that they did. Also, we got the best master for this stage, probably. Although some people might vouch for Tula here. Sinner. Hooray! Which is great, because this stage sucks. And by sucks, I mean it's just hard.
I've been getting increasingly spicy with the French now that I run a game where the entire community is French except for me.
Ah, I see. That'll do it.
They're
Also,
wonderful.
Bjorn's
However.
first appearance in this run could not have come at a more inconvenient time. This is Eiffel Power. It's a very hard level with lots going on. As you can see, loads of moving pegs, lots of pegs that are under other pegs, and Bjorn is not going to help us stupendously with that. As you can see, his power is Super Guide, which lets you get a nice little bounce line from where you're aiming to somewhere else on the board, which is helpful, don't get me wrong, but it also is a little time-consuming to use and is not going to help us too much with all the things we're experiencing here. So, yeah. Could be worse. Could definitely be better. But I think we'll make it through. We have a pretty good opener here. I always like to poke one hole in this because it lets us get in, although the moving peg's up here making that hard, so I think we have to do this. Because this will let us have an opening. Yeah. There we go. We had to do that to survive, basically, so there was a reason I waited there. And then, okay, no safety. Well, that's okay. We'll be fine. And there we go. That's a really hard level. Very happy to get through that first try with Bjorn. That doesn't always happen with less than optimal masters. Here we're going to start with a nice pixel shot that's going to get us this slide off top. Makes this level a lot easier. And we have Who, which is great. I think Who's going to help us out a lot here. Remember, Who's kind of like a little aimbot type deal, where he scans your shot and looks for better shots next to it based off of points. So, probably get good shots with Who. Although, also remember, it's based off of points, and the purple's worth lots of points, so sometimes Who will just go for the purple instead of oranges and make you sad. So you kind of have to strategize and figure out where you're aiming. So like here, I'm going to aim in this cluster because the purple's down here, so I'm assuming Who's going to go for a shot exactly like that, which, you know, will eventually go ahead and get the purple. Peggle is extraordinarily strategic, by the way. Like, there's tons of little decisions you're making all of the time in this game. All the time. And sometimes Who will just finish the level for you. Thank you, Who. That was really nice, actually. He's not selfish and didn't go for the purple. That's super cool. Thank you, Who. You know you're on No Glitches Allowed.
What a guy, huh?
What a guy. Exactly. I want to see, by the way, I really want to see some movement on that Castlevania incentive, and maybe chat, you could tell me about your favorite Peggle Master that you've seen so far, or
Have we seen
anything
them all
like
yet?
that. Yes, I believe. With Bjorn coming up on the screen, I believe we have now seen them all.
Let's go.
Which is nice. RMO is the only category in which you could see all of the Peggle Masters before the mid-game, because NG+, you just choose the Masters you want. Any percent, Masters come in packs of 5, so like each set of 5 levels has a new Master. So you don't get to see them all until the end game. And yeah, that's it. And then there's individual Master categories as well, where you play through the game with 1 power, but then, you know, you only see 1 power. So RMO's the variety pack.
I have read Claude's Wikipedia entry now.
Yes.
It's important to me that chat knows that Claude is even more my favorite because his Wikipedia entry says Claude is a French lobster from Peggle. He's the arch nemesis of Twitch chat.
I see. There is a very large creator on Twitch called Doug, who got really into Claude for a while for some reason, and went for...
Because he's smart and has good opinions.
Exactly. And went for like world record and stuff in the individual master category way back in the day. And we thank Doug for everything he's done for the community, because he really did bring a lot of awareness to Peggle and the speedrunning scene, and got a lot of our current runners into it. So, big shout outs to Doug. If we've got any Doug fans in chat, thank you.
Oh, I see now that I am not in fact on a Peggle wiki, but rather the dougdoug.fandom.com.
Yeah, exactly. I figured something like that was happening.
Which is hilarious.
That is hilarious. Alright, unfortunately we're in our first truly sticky situation here. Ooh, not what I wanted, Matt. Let's see. Yeah, figured we might get something like that. Unfortunately, Jimmy is the way that Jimmy is, and sometimes he will mess up your opener, just like he did there, and so that made it so that I didn't have a very free shot towards those pegs, and I kind of had to just gamble on that bounce. So we're gonna have to redo it. Now we get to see the biggest time loss that you can get at any Peggle game, pretty much. Losing the level and having to redo it. You only get 10 balls at the beginning of the level, and that is a very real material limitation, especially in Knights, which, as we have established, is very hard. So I'm kind of happy to see Bjorn, not like amazingly, but kind of, because Bjorn's gonna help us make some weird shots, and he did not, very importantly, mess up our opener. If we had Bjorn last time, we would have won. So here, yeah, I can do like that nice shot guaranteed, so that I don't have to worry about clearing the pegs in front of that orange later. That was silly, I should have gotten that. Let's see if we can get both in here. Yes! Haha! Styling. Yeah, chat, I want to hear about your favorite master. Maybe your favorite Castlevania game? Let's do it.
Ooh. Oh! Chat, can we play a game?
Ooh!
So, as I mentioned before, despite running several Metroidvanias, I have never played a Castlevania except for like an hour of Symphony of the Night on Hotfix for a grudge match like 2 years ago.
I see.
Which means, other than Symphony of the Night and the one coming up that I already forgot the name of, it
Order
has
of Ecclesia.
Ecclesias in it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So other than those two, I don't know the name of the Castlevania.
Fast level there, by the way.
So, chat, toss us some donations with real or fake Castlevania titles,
yes,
and
make happy
I will
guess.
try and guess if
Yes,
they're real.
yes, I do. Is the Castlevania real or is it fake? Make happy guess. Great call. That's super fun.
I hope the first donation just says Symphony of the Night. Like, well,
Okay. It says Peggle.
cool softball kid.
Castlevania Peggle.
Oh,
Maybe. It could happen.
Castlevania.
Pegglevania. Ooh.
Wait, how would it... in the style of Metroidvania being a genre, how do we make, like, a Vania with Peggle mechanics?
That's a really good question. I honestly have no clue what we would do, but it sounds like fun. Here, unfortunately, we have Jimmy, although I can just make a good shot, I guess. And that will be that. So Jimmy is once again being unhelpful for us, but we do get through the level this time because it's more straightforward than the first one. Also, these are all Tula's intended levels, as you can see by her being in the background. Cat on 7-4 again. I had this happen on my PB run, and I think Cat is just drawn to the pyramids because he's, you know, he's Egyptian themed. But anyways, these are Tula's intended levels, so you're supposed to have, again, the best master in the game for them. We don't. We have Cat. Best to worst, baby. Yeah, the pyramid is supposed to help you get extra free balls, but it usually doesn't that much. It mostly just makes you bounce around, just like that. Or other pegs near their floor. Which it sometimes does get, but usually oranges are less likely to be lower down in the level. In general Knight's design. So, thanks, Cat. Yeah, thanks, Cat. See that? That's just time loss. Yep.
But you get to look at your fave longer.
Yeah. Sure.
In the background, not in the...
True. You know what?
Faster.
That's fair. You're right. You're so true. Okay. Jimmy again? Why is Jimmy here? Jimmy's here forever and ever now. Jimmy is truly, like, not one of the worst masters, but certainly not one of the best. So, slightly unfortunate the rate at which we are getting Jimmy here. Let's see if he'll mess this opener up. Yeah, it looks like it. But it won't be in too bad of a way, actually. If only there were oranges where he was bouncing. At least that's a free ball. If you hear the wah sound, that's a free ball from points. Like we were talking about earlier. And that meow is Jimmy's power. It's really fun that it gets its own special guitar riff. Also, that was really good. Those pegs were going to be very hard to get otherwise, so... happy with those bounces. Oh, come on, game! Can you give me that? That's alright, we good? Oh, Tula! Thank goodness. So this is the first intended level for Cinderbottom. And the reason that that's important is because the game is like, well, you're definitely gonna have Cinder for this giant block of pegs, right? Right?
Yeah, so they explicitly put something in to teach you about Cinder's mechanic.
Right, which is nice.
Unless you don't have Cinder's mechanic.
Exactly. So, Tula might not save us here, but we definitely have a better shot with her than we would have. So, let's hope so. We do have some pixel shots that are supposed to help us out, but unfortunately I didn't quite do them right. It's a tough lineup for those ones. So here I'm going to do something interesting. There we go. I'm trying to wait for the purple peg to be inside of that circle so that we can get a free ball from points. I'm also trying to... okay, I'm at 5x multiplier. I'm not going to do any better than this. I was also trying to hit a couple of oranges so that we could get the multiplier up so that we could do exactly what is happening on screen right now. And now, because of Tula being awesome, we can just hit one orange and finish the level. We don't have to dig for that terrible one. Tough puzzle there, but we figured it out.
Pretty nice.
Ah, Cinder, you're a level late.
Cool time to get Cinder.
Yeah, it is actually. This level's really hard too, so I'm more than happy to have Cinder.
You're like, no, I don't mind.
I really
He's
don't.
allowed to be here.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a tough pixel shot. I actually am doing a pixel fireball, which is rare, but is a thing that we do sometimes. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get it, but still got an alright shot, which helps us prepare for that one. Yeah, we will probably be okay. I really hope we are, because I don't want to re-roll Masters on this level. This level is hard. So please let me win. That's not helpful for letting me win. Okay. Fireball's fine. Okay. Nice. I think we'll be fine now. Beautiful. If we had gotten the pixel fireball, we would have done that a little bit easier by kind of sideswiping the entire bottom part of that stage, but we made it through okay. Cinder's definitely one of the highest skill-based masters in the run. You really have to practice, you know, to get those really good bounces with him. That'll help you out. It's convenient, too. So here, this is interesting because I would like to use the green to get the harder oranges, but it's kind of in the way of some easier oranges. Let's see if we can still make that happen. Yes, we can. Using the wall is a very important thing to do. It's something that even high-level runners sometimes forget is an option, but you always want to be aware that the wall is somewhere you can aim off of. Also, Cinder's back. Again. Thank you, Cinder. Alright, he's apologizing for his earlier lack of appearances. And also Tula's coming in to help. So that's really nice. Cinder levels are super hard without Cinder, and just in general, they're pretty difficult. So it's really nice when you have them. See that big clump of pegs? Same deal, basically, as A-1, although it's easier to do this one without Cinder, usually. Although it was actually... It looked good, but it kind of wasn't, because we didn't get any of the center ring, and we didn't get that green, which is a little rough. So I'm just going to try to get everything else out of the way first, so that we can have a nice fireball end, potentially. Although the level's gonna have to... Yep. Didn't give me the timing that I needed to be able to do that there. Make that shot happen. There we go. Now we just have to wait. Perfect. There we go. And then final Cinder level. This is the easiest one, I would say, to approach without Cinder, and they've given me Warren. So there we go. Second appearance of Warren, I think. We're gonna set up for some nice shots later on here with this setup shot, and then I'm gonna purposely aim at this peg, because then we can just do this. That's one you can try at home, by the way. Just aiming anywhere kind of on the edge of that peg gets that to happen, which is really nice. Also, we have Magic Hat now, so y'all can see why it's so good. It extends the hitbox of your peg, of your ball, without extending. Oh, thank you for the useless space blast. Very cool. Without extending its collision box. So it basically just makes it so that the ball is going to hit more stuff. It gives it a hat. Do we have any donations of any kind or anything that you'd like to say? Happy? This is a good time.
I am still waiting to see some fake or real Castlevania names. But in the meantime, a reminder to the people that we are partnered with Japanese Restream for this event. We have a Japanese restream going on for No Glitches Allowed 2025. If you prefer to watch the event with Japanese commentary, head on over to twitch.tv/Japanese_restream or type !Japanese in chat to get that link and get on over there. The RTA community is phenomenal. Real good humans, and we're really lucky that they're restreaming for us for this event.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's so great that we were able to do that for No Glitches Allowed. I think it's just really awesome to have that accessibility for more people to participate in the event all around the world. It's super cool. Yeah. And
shout outs anyone watching over there. It's like 7 a.m. right now.
Yeah, if you're watching, you are a real one. It's true. Or helping out with commentary. I mean, thank you. Let's see. We are in Warren's intended levels now, and Warren's dream is to be like Indiana Jones and be a treasure hunter. So that's what we're doing here. Also, Cinder's dream was to be a firefighter as a fire-breathing dragon, which I always find funny. Didn't comment on that while the levels were going, but yeah, that's kind of a thing. But yeah, you can see Warren is like escaping from a tomb and stuff. That's just kind of apparently what he wants to do in his life. So, oh, thank you, Jimmy, for messing up the easiest pixel shot in the game, pretty much. You just have to aim over Warren's hook after getting that one peg gone, and then it'll do a slide on the parachute, usually. That's another one you can absolutely try it out. It is genuinely really easy. Most pixel shots are not. That one is. Alright. That was an extra peg, Jimmy. Fine. You know what, this level's actually really hard, so I'm not gonna blame Jimmy too much. Thank you, Jim. Back to Cat. But this level's really fun because slide, 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 slide. Those aren't pixel specific. I'm just kind of aiming in good places for them. There are pixel shots to get sort of into these other slides on the back, but I don't know them unfortunately yet. That is one I should get on soon. That is the thing with Peggle is, you know, you do not have to play with strats if you don't want to. But learning up-to-date strats is, you know, a big thing. It takes a lot of time. So sometimes even top-level runners aren't going to know every single good strat out there. Also, you can strat hunt yourself if you'd like. It's actually really easy in this game because they have a cool little debug feature that makes it so that you can have the coordinates appear on screen of anywhere you're aiming. So if you aim anywhere on the screen, you can see where those coordinates are and you can replicate it super easily and communicate to others super easily as well. You can also just come up with tap shots like that R3, aiming all the way to the right and tapping 3 times if you want as well. It's really easy to come up with new strategies. Of course, we don't allow that little debug thing during runs because it would make it so that you could aim at pixel shots every time with no assistance. That is something we've had discussions about in the past, but yeah, I think we've pretty solidly landed on that's not the way we want our RTA runs to go, but it's great for practice and it's great for strat hunting.
This is fair. I appreciate when a community looks at a thing and collectively is like, no. That's just not what we want the speedrun to be like, so we're not gonna do it.
Yep, exactly. Also, Cat has taken over the run for some reason. Thanks, Cat.
Remember that thing earlier about the dream being alive?
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Here's Cat disagrees.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You can see that Warren has gotten the big gem and is running out of the screen. That gem is actually solid. There was one in the last screen that was like that too. We haven't really talked too much about blockers, but that's definitely a thing in this game. There are objects that look like they might be part of the background, but they actually do collide with your ball. So you kind of have to know where those are and be a little bit careful about them. Luckily, this blocker doesn't directly block any pegs, which is really nice. You don't have to bounce towards anything, but it still, you know, is a bit of a pain. Oh, that was gonna be cool. I was gonna bounce right to that one, but it still got a peg, so we're happy. And there we go, right into the 10-gay. See how that is helpful? Good time save. Right. 5. Oh, I did that wrong. That's okay. Not a big deal. At least got our space blast out of the way early. Yeah, Splork was here a lot early and then has decided not to show up as much. So, happy to see them when they want to come here, but also, as mentioned before, Splork's power is very, very dependent on where the greens are. So sometimes it can be really good, and sometimes it can not do much at all for you. It just depends on the circumstance. Mostly. Right. This is gonna be a bit of a tricky level to clear.
Good thing you're goated at Peggle.
If only. What? That way? Okay, that didn't make sense. Yeah, probably not getting this one first try, and that's okay. This level's really hard. That is understandable. I also messed up the opener. Not gonna do that this time. See, this is what that's supposed to do. Supposed to get a nice slide on the top of this guitar, which helps a lot. Alright, Renfield not being too bad this time, getting some points for us, so we get an extra free ball there. Oftentimes I like to pop Renfield's early because, as discussed earlier, he has no specific thing that's making his shot better, like in Deluxe. So it's just better to pop the green when there's more stuff on the screen. For him to potentially hit. There, unfortunately, he didn't do much, but such is life. Kind of setting up for shots here. Good. Oh. There, that's fine. There we go. Also, you might hear that I'm clicking a lot. I don't know if you can hear that, but you might. When the ball is approaching the last peg, that's actually something that I'm doing to speed up the sort of little slowdown animation that it has at the end. It kind of hypes you up by slowing everything down when you're right near the final peg, which also doesn't have to be the final peg per se. If a power such as Splork's or Tula's is going to get the final peg, or Marina's, the game will still give you the little slowdown. So you have to kind of be mashing a little bit around when that's going to happen so that you can skip the whole time lossy animation. Also, I would say Splork was a serious help at this level. So, you know, it really depends. Chad, I'd love to hear some Castlevania game titles, whether real or fake. Also, Whose dream is to be a rock star, and a band that we will later see is called The Who. Thanks. We'll later see if we get through this level. This one, the Knight's End game is really hard. There's lots of levels that contain a bunch of moving pegs, just like you can see here. And those are just very hard to deal with because you can't make opener shots nearly as easily for them. Although we got Cinder and did a great shot with it, so that's pretty good.
You have, like, is it consistent enough movement that you have a visual cue for any of them to be like, okay, when the top row of balls, like, is at the top of his eyes, you can release or anything like that, or is it just...
Yeah, a little bit. There are certain levels in Peggle in general where you do, yes, you do have openers that use the moving pegs. They're rare, but they do exist. Oh, whoa, okay. There's gonna be one later in this run, 11-3. We're gonna be able to do that. But they are pretty rare, especially because this game doesn't run at 60 FPS or 30 FPS. It runs at the really cool number of 100 FPS. So everything is even harder if it's a frame perfect thing, or even a several frame perfect thing, than in most games. But yeah, there's a really cool strat actually at the in Peggle Deluxe. If you have watched the SGDQ 2023 Peggle Deluxe run, it was shown often that in the final level that uses frame perfect timing. I would highly recommend going and watching that if you have not already. It is an absolute treat. Here we've got Claude again, for the first time in a while actually. Claude was one of the main masters I was getting in my PV run. Not so much in this one, which I'm not complaining too much about, even though Claude is many people's favorite. He's honestly not very fast. The flippers are usually not going to help you clear the level, and are oftentimes going to make you take more time.
Get better at the game instead of being mean to my boy.
I'm plenty good at the game, I promise. I
can't
promise.
believe you would walk down to Claude like this.
I know, right?
Our Lord and Savior. Claude.
Here, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do a quick one for safety, but we didn't even really need it. Also, there's the Who. It consists of Who, Bjorn, and Tula. Bjorn again! Oh my gosh. Okay, I got Bjorn in this level in PB also, and you can see that Bjorn maybe isn't the most helpful for a level where it's just a bunch of moving pegs. This is one of the most random levels in this run. Even with the intended master who is really good, you don't always beat this level. You really don't always beat this level. This one is hard and random. So if we lose on this, that will be normal. But hopefully we don't. In my PB, I actually did win with Bjorn, so it is certainly possible. It's just not always going to happen. That's the thing.
Were you stressing a little in the PB run when you
were... for sure.
You were on pace and Bjorn came up in this level?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with RMO. You never know what you're gonna get. You just have no idea until you boot up the level. And, you know, you can get good things, you can get terrible things. It's just all a crapshoot, you know, in a certain way. But it's a really fun crapshoot. It's really fun to see what you get and try to make something out of it. Of course, as you can see here, we're not gonna be able to clear this one with Bjorn. Yeah. Kind of close. 3 pegs left is actually not too bad for Bjorn. But hey, yay, thank you for apologizing again. I accept. Let's do it. We hurt
You could
too.
never stay mad at Peggle.
I really couldn't. I've been speedrunning this game for more than 3 years. Actually, definitely more than that. I don't know exactly whether we're at 4 yet or not. I'd have to go check. But I've been speedrunning this game for as long as I've been speedrunning, and it's really absolutely fantastic. Peggle is great. There are several classic Peggle games to choose from as well. You don't have to play either Knights or Deluxe specifically. You can play either one, or you can play Peggle World of Warcraft or Peggle Extreme. Those are real games. Peggle World of Warcraft is indeed a crossover between Valve and World of Warcraft. It's real.
Isn't there a fan game now too?
Yes, there is. We made a game called Peggle Fevers as well, which is a full mod of Peggle Knights. Full game mod of Peggle Knights. So if you own Peggle Knights, you can play it for free. It's on Game Banana. And it is basically Peggle 3, more or less. There is a Peggle 2, but it's not real. This is Peggle 2. What you're watching right now.
Gotcha. Is that a widely held belief or a personal belief?
Pretty widely. Sorry, Peggle 2.
Okay.
Sorry, Peggle 2. Cat Tut for 11-1. Yeah. In my PB, I did get a nice gift here and got Marina, who's the intended master for the stage. This is the final set of 5 where you get introduced to a new master and you use them for the whole time. You can see that the Electro Bolt power, which makes a line from the first peg you hit to the ball bucket, which we've only seen once, by the way. The game has not been kind with Marina. Would be great for a level which is basically just lines.
Yeah.
Yep, but we have Cat Tut instead, so we will probably be failing this first go. The only thing you can really do is try to fail the level quickly, and unfortunately, Cat's not even good at that.
Because his whole thing is
bouncing a
giving
lot,
extra
yeah.
balls and bouncing a lot.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Cool behavior.
exactly. Okay, who's not too bad? Who we could get through this with for sure. We could do this. Yeah, no, this game's super fun. Peggle Extreme and Peggle World of Warcraft, and if you own Peggle Knights, Peggle Fevers are all free, by the way. Peggle Extreme and Peggle World of Warcraft, you can just download on your computer if you can run it. That's just something you can do. So, you know, if you want to get into Peggle speedrunning, you can. It's really simple.
For free.
Yeah.
Do you have a mouse?
Yep, and a machine that can run the game. You can play.
And a low sense of self-worth?
What?
You have everything you need.
awesome.
No. Absolutely.
Peggle's great. Hey, see, there we go.
I have not run Peggle, but I've played all of those, except Fevers. I have not played Fevers.
Play Fevers, it's awesome.
All the other ones casually. I'm like, game just good.
Game just good. Completely agreed with that. Fevers is awesome, by the way. It's a huge labor of love. I worked on it. I made the first 5 level backgrounds, and made the 5th level. Just actually made it. There are a bunch of people who worked on it, mostly Peggle speedrunners, some not Peggle speedrunners. It's really a joy. I thought it came out really, really good. So definitely recommend that. Also, we're getting a mini water break here. Sometimes the ball can just get stuck in the Ouroboros. Although, sometimes it can get stuck when all of the pegs are intact. And that is what we call a true water break, where the ball just stays in there. And it's a water break because you can drink some water.
Jess is asking in chat if you absolutely need a mouse or if you can use a trackpad. I assume
you can use a trackpad.
But how much is it not recommended?
It's so not for speedrunning in particular. Yeah, and I hate to break it to all the console lovers as well. You can speedrun this game on console. It is not a good idea. You will just be slower.
I don't know. I think when the Switch 2 Peggle port comes out, all the Switch 2 mouse and keyboard users are gonna take over the boards.
Exactly, Switch 2 mouse. Let's go. Okay, so we were talking about timing strats earlier. Nice.
Is there one on this level?
Yep, I just did it. If you aim at this specific pixel and you wait for the ball bucket to be in a certain place, you can get the ball into the little thing here, which is really, really good. Really super helpful.
Oh.
Here, I just wing it, and I usually don't get it. That's fine. Exactly, that's what I was talking about earlier at SGDQ. Go watch that. If you have not. But yeah, getting in there is super, super helpful. Just in general, you always want to do that, even with the Intended Master, Marina. But if you don't have the Intended Master, it's even better, as you might imagine. Here I'm actually going for... Okay, that's fine. I was going for getting the green to get that orange. But it looks like we're just gonna have to brute force it. That's fine. There we go. Good level. Really solid. And Warren is here. Warren can be good or bad. We will just have to see what we roll. Ah, yay. I'm also clicking my mouse to speed that animation up. The one where the lucky spin is coming on the screen. You can also do that for Who's Power while he's calculating the best shot. It happens instantly. The game just adds some animation to make it feel better. Same thing with the opening loading screen, actually. Technically, the game loads in instantly. It just gives you a little loading, thing to make it feel more like things are happening. You can't skip it in Peggle, but you can skip it in Plants vs. Zombies, actually. Fun fact. If you load up the original version of that game, or Game of the Year, it doesn't matter, and double-click on the loading screen, it will immediately take you into the game. Nice! That was really solid. This level is also usually quite a bit harder without the Intended Master, so very happy about that. Ooh, Tula. Nice. So we're heading into the end of the run here. This is the 6th to final level. So we're getting there. So if you want to get those donations in for this run, any donations, I would love to see them. Or anything for Castlevania. Now's a really, really good time to do that.
I get what you mean. It took me a second to realize what you meant by 6th final level, because when I first heard those words, I was like, that's absurd. Oh, 6th to final.
Yes, there will be 5 more levels after this, if that helps.
6th, so like each of their dreams ends, and this is the 6th one we've been through?
That is a way to interpret the words that came out of my mouth.
I was fighting for my life.
Indeed. Oh, I could have just bounced off of that. Good level. Super fast. That one just went by. Oh, no. Thank you, Kat. So, yeah. Take a look at this level. Who do you think is the best one for this? You guessed Cinder. You were right. Although other masters are good too. Kat is not.
Appalled, frankly.
But luckily, I'm awesome. Sorry, I had to. And I was able to just get the shot that goes in between the stuff. So this might be possible with Kat. We'll see. It's gonna be tricky, but it might be. At actually getting us free balls. I will always take it in this level. Nice. Nice. I love physics. Yeah, Peggle's also super satisfying to play well, and to improve in. If you play this game for a while, you start being able to do things you just didn't even know you could. And it's just really, really cool to sort of feel that tangible progression of skill in this game. Rude. There we go. That was actually a pretty solid and fast player of Cyclo. Very happy with that. Alright, we got Cinder for this. That is not bad. Also, I am looking at guides, by the way. If you're thinking about running this and you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly remember all the shots and stuff. You don't have to. I'm looking at guides on the side of my screen for pixel shots and tap shots and stuff like that. Even bucket timings. If you time the bucket at a specific time when you do a shot, you're gonna be able to get a free ball, guaranteed. So, kind of like that. So that's another thing you can have on the side of your screen. So, you know, don't worry. You can do it. Yeah, Cinder's nice here because you can get a lot of those pegs, although that was not good, on the bottom there, which are generally very hard to hit. Okay, interesting. We might not first try this one. That's okay. This is one of the least master dependent levels out of the master levels. So we're in the final 5 levels. They are called the master levels, and they're called that because in the any percent version, you can actually pick any master that you want to use here for these ones. But of course, we're doing random master only, so we cannot ourselves. That was a really good shot. Okay. Great. Thanks, game. Pulled that out. Happy we were able to do that. Alright. Thank you, Jimmy. It's Jimmy, he's back. So here I'm just doing some tap shots at the beginning, aiming all the way to the right twice with some specific bucket timings, which are important because of the moving pink wall things in this stage. You do want them to be kind of in a specific way when you're doing those shots. So another place where timing is relevant. I will take that, Jimmy, actually. That was really helpful, Jimmy. Thanks. That wasn't bad either. Jimmy being nice? Wow. Never seen it. Yes.
I've learned in this run I have a soft spot for Jimmy. Because he's kind of useless, but like, you know, he looks like he wants to be helpful.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He just doesn't always, you know, help. He's not all that slow, honestly, though. The only thing with Jimmy is really that he kind of changes your plans, which is hard to deal with. But he's honestly not all that slow on average. His ability can be really fast. It just kind of, you know, you can't predict everything he's going to do, which is hard to deal with as, you know, as a runner. Here we have Pooh, which is pretty good, but this level's just really hard. So we'll see if we are able to succeed. Kind of getting everything off of that side of the screen because it'll make it so that when I do use a Who shot, it'll be easier to get a big clump of good pegs. Who doesn't have to go everywhere around the screen, you know. Not quite enough. It's gonna be interesting. Okay, it's not gonna do it. I was hoping to get a free ball from there, but it wasn't going to do it. Yeah, I thought that might be how that went, which is okay, actually. Oh, a little lower than I wanted that to be. You can use these blockers, which normally make things harder, but you can bounce off of them. It's pretty hard to tell what will happen sometimes, so that's why this whole thing is happening. Yeah. Yep, that's tough. It was gonna be hard to make that work, so another try. That's okay. This level, again, is very difficult. Not a big deal. That just means more time to get in those Castlevania donations. I would love to see him, love to hear him. Anything for Peggle as well. Been waiting. Come on, chat. Last chance. Love to hear some love for Peggle.
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 Peggle. Peglove.
Peglove.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
My first thought whenever I hear two words is, how can this be a portmanteau?
Yeah,
And sometimes
me too.
They're just not.
I relate to that. Sometimes they just don't work, and that's okay. You know, it's okay. That's how life is. Sometimes. Nice. Happy with that. All right. Need to get a specific shot here. Here we go. All right, final level. Shadow Shine is pretty difficult. It has a lot of barriers and stuff, like we were talking about before, but we have some pretty awesome pixel shots that basically shred through the level. So, I usually beat this first try. We also have a good master. So, again, last chance! Get your donations in, everybody. Go Rescue is a great cause, also. Like, really, really good cause.
Go Rescue is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I am personally a big old fan of Georgia, who started Go Rescue. I'll just read the whole dang blurb, why not? Did y'all know that in 2011, a local woman named Georgia Obenhaus lost her home and her only focus became how to prevent her family dogs from going back to animal control? So starting out with just an empty shell of a building, Go Rescue soon became not just a place for her current rescues, but a shelter that has rescued over 2,000 dogs to date.
Wow.
So, George is such a cool, kind person and loves working with us. And like, this is one of the few marathons I'm involved in.
Call time? Oh. Just by the way. When the ball goes into the thing. Yeah, time.
Resuming.
Yay.
GG's.
Thank you. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're great. I was just gonna say we're really lucky because not a lot of marathons have such a like one-to-one relationship with the person who runs their charity partner. And we're super lucky that we like know Georgia and interact directly with her, and then get to also help the work that she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really special.
It is really special. I completely agree. And that was the run. I hope y'all liked it. I probably should have actually tried to full clear that level. I could have. But yeah, that is Peggle Nights Random Master Only. We had wackiness, we had funny masters, we had cool level clears. What was the final time on that, by the way, Happy?
I'm seeing 1:12:11.
Yep, that's about what I thought. That would have been a PB if I had not PB'd the other day.
Okay,
so,
bet.
That's pretty decent run for a no reset. I will absolutely take it. Yeah, not half bad. If you'd like to see more of Peggle and also me, I stream at satanherself on Twitch. I do all sorts of Peggle runs. I do this. I'm kind of grinding any percent right now because I've been trying to break a 5-minute barrier for myself for a long time, and we're getting really close. I've had a bunch of good cases recently. But I also play other games such as Plants vs. Zombies, Jazzpunk, World of Goo, speedrun all that. I do Kaizo, Platinum Ironmon, all sorts of fun stuff. And if you'd like to join the Peggle community and speedrun this, we would love to see you. Once again, there are several free games in the Peggle series, including Peggle Extreme and Peggle World of Warcraft, and also try out Beavers if you own this game. You can join our Discord by going to the SRC page and just clicking Discord of any Peggle, classic Peggle game, Peggle Deluxe, Peggle Knights, etc. We would absolutely love to see you. Please run this game. It's super awesome. And yeah, please donate towards the Castlevania Glitch Showcase. I want to see glitches in my No Glitches Allowed marathon. Come on. Come on, y'all. Do it. It was great being here with you all. Thank you for having me. No Glitches Allowed again. That was super, super fun. Bye.
Thank you again, Satan. You're the best. And folks at home, we are going to send you to the cool sounds of Rainwave. I think currently playing some super cool Mike, Chimpazilla, and Jarito. 3 great DJ names. We're going to let you enjoy their work for a little bit while we get this next run set up, and I will be right back with you nerds in a second. Don't touch that dial. All right, everybody, we are working on getting set up with our next run, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, Shanoa Glitchless by Lonely. But while we wait for that, I just wanted to stop in real quick and remind y'all that we do have a Target incentive open right now. We are at $10 out of the 100 that we need for that incentive. And if we meet that incentive by the end of this run, Lonely is going to break the rules of no glitches allowed, and we will allow some glitches. A few glitches allowed, as Lonely shows off a glitch showcase of Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. For those of you who may not have been here when I first suggested this idea earlier, I'm just going to suggest it again because I think it's a good idea. I have never played a Castlevania other than Symphony of the Night, which means I do not know what any of them are called, but I know they all have crazy subtitles. So chat, get at me in the donations. Give me either a real or a fake Castlevania title, and I will guess if that title is real or fake. And maybe I'll donate every time I get one wrong. Kind of up the ante a little bit. Who knows? You'll have to find out. In the meantime, head over to that link in chat. Donate to support Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center, and I will start reading off those Castlevania names when we get started with Order of Ecclesia in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, and I'll see y'all as soon as we finish getting tech ready to party. All right, folks, we are working on getting this next run set up. I'm told it's a DS game, and if y'all have ever dealt with the tech behind DS capture cards, you understand why our tech crew needs a few extra minutes for this one compared to other games. DS capture cards are a gift and a nightmare to work with. But I do have a bit of an update on this current bid war that's going on. We've got a bid war for the language choice in Death's Door, which has 10 options available. So tons of options that you can choose from. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm a Death's Door runner, so I can tell you from experience, none of them change anything about the game. We have an auto text masher, so the game is the same length no matter what language you choose, which means you can just choose your favorite. You don't have to feel guilty about giving the runner a bad language they're not used to. You don't have to feel bad about choosing the slowest language. You can just pick your favorite. And we have, like I said, 10 options, a ton of options available. We have simplified Chinese, we have traditional Chinese, we have English, we have French, German, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. So if you want maybe a language you're studying to win, get a little immersion practice by seeing all the titles in your L2, your target language, maybe you don't speak English as a first language and you want your first language represented in the game. One of the nice things about the language choice in Death's Door is that it also changes the boss names in the boss intro scenes. So when we interact with a boss, their name shows up as like huge text on screen, and it's this big, like, epic dramatic moment. And that text appears in the language we choose. So whatever language you choose is going to be well represented on screen very often throughout the run. Um so, you're not just donating to know that that's the language. Some games you like donate for a language choice and then it's only text boxes that we skip through. And so you don't really see it. But Death's Door, like, it's a marquee of whatever language you vote for. So your donations will be well worth it. And because right now it's a brand new poll, nobody's donated to it yet, that means that you can put any option in the lead. Whatever you want, just $5 could get you that first place spot for now. If you need to do that, head over to that link that you can see in chat there, noglitchesallowed.org/donate, and make sure that you choose the target so that your donation goes toward the glitch exhibition, and make sure you choose a bid war and choose what option you want from the bid war. Make sure you apply your donation to both of those before you actually click donate, so that on our end, it shows exactly where you want those donations to go. And put your fake or real Castlevania title in the donation comment, and we will chat about it on stream. And I'm hearing from the powers that be that we are ready to party. Our next run is set up and ready to go. So I'm going to get our runners in here to the live channel, and in just a second, we are going to get rolling with Castlevania Order of Ecclesia Shanoa Glitchless by Lonely.